everybody. Thank you. It's so good to have you tune in again for this month's Facebook Live video. Today I have gotten some great comments from people wanting to know a little bit about pouring wax and the smooth surface that elicits versus blowtorching and using a heat gun. So I'm going to start off with the most exciting part, which is pouring today. So these are just two methods that I use. Other people will use something completely different, but in my practice, I found that these work really well. What we have here is an old painting. Actually, my partner in Open Art Retreats created this. She shoots beautiful ballerinas. She actually put some gold leaf around the bottom there. But I have taped around this birch cradled panel. I took tape and wrapped it around 3 times, and then tried to kind of point these little corners and push it pretty close to the painting, because what I'm going to do is pour wax into this, and that will create a little trough. I'll set it in here just in case something pours over the side, but you want to keep your wax to 200 degrees. That's a little bit hotter than I usually use on the griddle, but you really want it to be hot. Also, I like to start by using a blowtorch or a heat gun to heat up the surface. That really helps when you're pouring, to have the wax sink into the painting or the photograph or just a regular board. So I'm just going to heat that up a little bit. I'm staying clear of the tape so the tape doesn't set on fire. Now I'm going to take my natural beeswax that I heat in this electric skillet over here to 200 degrees. And this is just natural beeswax. I don't really have any encaustic medium in it right now. That means there's not any Damar or carnauba in there. And so I'm going to carry this over, and I'm going to quickly do this. Actually, I cannot set this in this thing because it will not be level. It is important for this to be level. Okay, so now I'm taking the wax and I'm going to start down at this corner and kind of go back and forth. Okay, so if you can kind of look in there, there may be some tiny little holes. If there are, I pop those with a little X-Acto knife. This is great. This is a really nice smooth surface. This doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes there's more bubbles, but probably it's working really well because I'm videoing with you, hopefully. But also because we heated the wax up to the right temperature, because we immediately poured it in. The piece is fairly level, and those are some of the great things about pouring. Sometimes this doesn't work that well if your wax isn't hot enough and you have a lot of holes and you're in there poking them with the X-Acto knife, and it's getting kind of frustrating, and then it doesn't elicit such a beautiful surface like that. Looks like it might be leaking out a little bit here. That's okay. I can always take that and heat it again. A lot of people will ask, do you go back in and heat this again? The answer is no. If I did that, I would get a lot of pit marks. This is a pour that is absolutely clean and even, and that photograph that you see in there will be pushed back. It'll look nice and cloudy and very ethereal. So I love doing that. Let's see. The other way to pour would be to not tape on the sides like this. At this point, my wax is not hot enough, so I'm going to go back and now I've got my 200-degree wax again. Making sure that this is level is very important. You can actually put your phone down on the piece if you have iHandy level app. It's wonderful. You can make sure your piece is very stable, but I'm just going to hope that this is right now for this sake. So again, I'm starting on one side and I'm kind of zigzagging, letting that run over the edges. And this time I did not heat up the substrate, and I think we're going to get a much different look from that. So I think because I didn't heat up the painting beneath there, we have a few pit marks. I can pop some of these holes, but in this case, because there's kind of this cool painting underneath it, I'm not going to worry about it so much. Because as an experiment, why don't I just show you what happens when I use a blowtorch to try to kind of get some of this a little bit more even. So it's not a perfectly smooth surface like the one I poured into the trough with the tape around it, but it's becoming more clear. One of the tips and secrets that I have found is that if you have little holes in your wax surface, you can pop them like this. Oop, I see another one. So some will pop up, some will go away, they'll disappear, and then another one will happen. That's a little bit of a lovely little trick there. I see a couple holes in this piece, but it's not going to bother me too much because now I can go back and actually fill in the holes with like an alcohol wash, like a terpenoid, which is mineral spirits, and mix that with an oil paint, and that'll give this a really nice look. A lot of people have asked me about using a blowtorch versus a heat gun on surfaces. So this is a birch panel that I've covered with 3 layers of clear wax, and I used a blowtorch on it. So you can see the blowtorch can help it make a really smooth surface. But when you use a heat gun, kind of look and see what's happening closely here. There's going to be you see the hole that's being created there? It's kind of a divot. This is because the heat gun is pushing air along with heat, and so that kind of makes like a circular hole. That is not easy to get rid of. So I've had photographers come in and they have pasted down their photographs, and then they have these pits in it, and it like drives them crazy. So what I usually do is use the blowtorch on the entire thing. So I won't show you that whole process now, but you can just see I kind of go back and forth. And that keeps your smooth surface. If you have any questions about that, please ask me. Do you see this extra little wax right here? This is really pretty cool. And let's say I wanted to add a little bit of gold leaf to a piece. I kind of created this yesterday with some alcohol inks on a wax surface. I can take this wax that I just pulled off the table and kind of create some texture. So you could torch that a little bit, make sure that it is a part of the piece. And then I'm going to take my gloves off so I can grab this. This is a little bag of gold leaf. So you can kind of sprinkle it a little bit and then just start pressing it into parts of your wax. If you're using gold leaf on a photograph, you would want to first use sizing to make the gold attach to your piece, but it attaches wonderfully to the wax surface. So that is just a kind of a cool little way to add gold leaf to a piece. You can then put the gold leaf sealant on the top of this so that it does not turn over time, doesn't turn green, doesn't oxidize. But the piece on my walls right here uses gold leaf in the same way. I just scraped off some wax, put that down to resemble some flowers, and added the gold leaf in the same way that I just showed you. I hope this has given you a little bit of a peek into some of my secrets and techniques. I'd love to hear your questions and see what you'd like to do next, what you'd like for me to show you. I want to mention that, sorry, the glasses, I have an open art retreat on March 16th and 17th, and we only have 2 spots left. Cannot wait for that retreat, and I really hope that you consider going to that. We'll have the link included here. March 22nd is my free artist talk and demo at Interiors Market, which is going to be the new interior boutique that I'll be showing my work. That's going to be really exciting. They're also featuring a new French chef at the same time, so you get to have your wine and nibbles while you're watching the artist demo. So please consider going to that. And also I have some April and May workshops that are coming up that I would love for you to join. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.